And good evening, free enterprise fans. We have tonight for you a very special presentation. This is the final match of Swiss rounds, specifically for the hook route. Before we get into the gigantic group matches, final match is tonight between LUF and Commander Leonhart. My name is Vitasia. I'm joined tonight by Bad Karma. How are we doing tonight, Karma?
I am doing fantastic. I am looking forward to this race. We have a fantastic match going in the hook route between Luff and Commander Leonhart. We have a very interesting set of objectives here where we have to give Kane some MP, check the job dwarf. These don't seem right.
That, hang on. Well, okay, so yeah, we'll have our standard Cocal Forge, but the other three objectives: defeat the boss in the waterfall, conquer the Vanilla White Spear altar, and then unlock the sealed cave. This could either be super free or it could be super long. We'll see. An early darkness crystal would be probably the worst news for our runners. I don't know, but this is going to be a really kind of hype race, no matter how you strike it.
Yeah, and me personally, I'm hoping for a very rude hook route because I'm a very evil person at times. I'm hoping for a hook into a darkness crystal to just give them the whole world to be their oyster, and they have to diverge really quickly.
Both of these runners, both Luff and Commander Leonhart, are 2-0 right now. The winner will have two different group races in the hook route. The first race is the winner out of 7 runners will get through. The loser will join the second race along with everyone else who didn't win the first race. And there will be 24 total entrants for that one in the hook route. And only one of those 24 will advance. So you would do well to win this race. A lot is riding on this particular race for both these runners.
Yeah, getting that second play in by going 3-0 in this group stage would really benefit to get two chances at going to the table. That table, we get new flags. It's where the top 32 runners are going to be, and that's how you can progress on. So I'm sure both of these runners, they're 2-0. They've been running fantastic races. I'm looking forward to this.
I'm really looking forward, and this is something that I'm also in the hook route. I'm also 3-0, but Commander Leonhart started out his group stage in one of the more difficult groups that are out there, and he actually started 0-3. So if he can pull this win out and then go 3-0, that quick turnaround there, that would just be so much impressive. I think he and I would be the only ones if he ends up winning. So I'm saying, I don't mind being the only guy to switch completely around. But Leonhart, come on, I need some company, man.
And we're getting started. We've got a Yang and a Blue Robe and a Pass.
That's interesting. Pass in this game for free enterprise. Normally, you open it up to an adult section in Troya where some dancers dance for you. However, in this game, we decided to make it a shortcut that takes you right to Z-Man himself. So, knowing that one of our objectives is already on the moon, getting that pass early, just, I don't know if it's spicy, but it's definitely a different flavor to this particular race.
It leads a lot to routing. You can find that forge, and you don't even have to go to the moon now. You have that in your back pocket. You can get a grind done, get the forge, and complete the other two objectives here on Earth. With Waterfall probably going to get done within the first couple minutes, um, as Luff dives into the Watery Pass.
Yeah. Hallam and Yang are our starting characters. We do see Luff immediately starting, finds the inferior white mage Porum, although early on, that's not bad to see because now you can use that twin cast right out the gate.
Yeah, and that's really great for early overworld. Getting Flare, getting Comet can really clean up a lot of bosses. As Commander Leonhart heads straight for Mysidia, gonna do 2 character checks over there. We see Rydia and a Kane. I feel betrayed already.
um, this is going to be kind of an interesting party setup. So far, magic heavy with all the characters that we found. Young and Kane are the only melee characters so far. Luff looks like he's also going to be checking out Damsian almost immediately. Kind of a standard opening move at this point. Free characters are turned on, so of course we're going to find one other character here in Damsian. Commander Leonhart, though, is doing something interesting. He got his Rydia, and if you bring a Rydia to this front of Mount Hobbs, it will auto-learn one of her later summons automatically in order to get through here. You have to have Rydia in order to activate this cutscene and move through and really access this treasure chest without fighting the boss on the other side. This is with these particular flags turned on for the T Wildish, there's some pretty decent treasure that can be found here. We see a rune ring, for example. And Luff finds us a Cecil in Damsian.
Yeah, so for Highway to the Threemus, one of the flags that is on throughout the entire tournament is vanilla agility. That means normally in Free Enterprise, the agility is determined by the person in the middle slot. So if you're looking at Commander Leonhart's screen, it would be Rydia. But because we have vanilla agility in the vanilla game, agility was determined by Cecil at all times. So we have that flag turned on. So no matter where Cecil is in the formation, the highest priority Cecil will be the agility anchor.
Oh, and there's, we have Commander Leonhart. Go ahead and checking what's on Hobbs. He's already here. Might as well be worth the check. And finding an Edward, I'm going to go out on a limb and say we're not going to see that Edward anytime soon.
There are a number of fans of Edward out there. Has some very niche strategies. Can use the spoon. We have the spoon turned on. That's a 255 battle power weapon. But myself personally, I would have made the same choice.
True story. Edward is the only character that at low levels can solo Zero Miss. And we're talking like sub level 20 can solo Zero Miss.
As Luff finds the elements in the antlion den.
This is actually not a bad spot for the elements right now. You have Yang, who, he's already got a Cat Claw and a Fire Claw. Fire Claw does quite a bit of damage to that Mylan phase, but does transition over here to the Rubicon phase. Yeah, just moving right on through the different phases here. Twin doing work.
Showing that you don't need that initial battle to get Palom. As long as he has his twin sister, he can do some level 2 spells. And an early Magma Key.
That is fantastic. Meanwhile, Commander Leonhart is going to go ahead and do his objective first. Finds a Pale Dim to start and says, everyone's going to be doing this. Doing it now will take time. He's deciding that coming back later is actually the more prudent move. And I tend to agree. When you have those early objectives that everyone's going to blow through immediately, unless there's a reward for it, putting it off until you have a little bit more oomph behind your punch is probably the way to go.
Well, and the issue there too, the waterfall has a deceptively high amount of HP. I believe it has more HP than the antlion nest. So that Pale Dim's going to hit hard and fast because it uses the Octomammoth stats, and it has a lot of HP to get through. You definitely want to be hitting a little harder.
Absolutely. So Commander Leonhart is now going to be going through and checking this watery pass. We'll pick up his Porum. Only White Mage we've seen so far, and says, nah, I'm good. So no White Mage is going to go with the... Oh, no. Maybe has opted to go ahead and pick up the White Mage because, yeah, no other real source of healing other than those free Cure 2s that you start out with. As difficult of a decision as that is, oh, he's ditching Kane.
That is, that's a strange choice.
That's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out.
That is a bold move. So we tweeted. I would have dropped the Yang myself. Yang is great even with that cat claw, but doesn't really get a lot of oomph to his punch until he gets some levels. Kane, you find a defense sword, a white spear with this T Wildish flag. Any of those can be in any of these chests, and that really ups the ante for Kane really fast. That's a yeah, that's an interesting choice. As Luff is going to go drop the magma key in and head underground.
Commander Leonhart is, I don't think he's happy with his party still. He's trying to figure out what his best options are. Finds a Tella. Tella has had just the most amazing glow up, I think, for this tournament so far. No Fusoya means he is the best source of weak early on in the entire game. So if you're planning on doing a D machine grind in order to get to your levels, Tella is just about as close to mandatory as you could possibly get.
Dumped one of the black mages, got rid of Palom instead of Rydia.
That's confusing. The only reason to me that you would keep Rydia over Pelham is Rydia, like, we don't have a really good summon. We have Odin, which works part of the time. And we don't, there's no Sylph, there's no other summons that we've really gotten that would really prioritize that. Tella will learn Warp, so the idea that she has Warp early on to be able to help us out in Dwarf Castle for later on isn't relevant. So I'm really confused by that by Commander Leonhart.
Quick question in chat: why isn't Fusoya in this? Fusoya has been banned from the tournament. Fusoya is a little powerful in this game, and we're running C relaxed flags in this early stage and C standard in the next stage, which would limit the appearance of them. But it still is pretty powerful, so decided to not go with any Fusoya in this tournament.
Yep. Fusoya is playing the role of Sir not appearing in this randomizer. Meanwhile, LUF just rolling in, going into the underground, deciding, he doesn't have his Tella, so his first priority is going to be checking these item shops, seeing what's available in the item shops. If there are sirens that are freely available, then that makes the lack of Tella kind of moot at that point.
LUF found a Soma drop, so if he keeps that, he'll be happy to be using that on that Tella later. I was thinking about, why Commander Leonhart would keep. We do have the standard shop flags, so that means Sylph, Asura, some of the more powerful summons can be found in the shops. Also, Leviathan and Bahamut summons can be just about anywhere. So maybe Commander Leonhart's just banking on finding one of those.
And here he goes. He's continuing his shopping spree into the underground. With this particular flag set, you're going to find most of the most useful J items in locked places. Silk webs you can find anywhere, but things like hourglasses, the sirens, Bacchus wines are going to be behind some locked area on the moon, in Eblan Cave, or underground.
Yeah, and there's a lot of uses for a lot of those. Silk Web, a lot of people use them just to slow Threemus down. Can be used to slow down a number of bosses. Bacchus wines, if you only have one Swords of Berserk, not a problem. And we all know what sirens do. Yeah, LUF is finding a lot of interesting things in these shops. That armor shop there in Comra had some nice gear in it in case we don't find it in the chest later. As he heads over the Fey March, there is a free key item check in the Fey March. Where in the vanilla game it was the rat tail. One of the good rules to follow when playing the randomizer is always check your freebies.
I don't know how many times I've heard in Venerable not scream, but do that thing that Invenerable does, where he says, "Always check your freebies." It's the common sense thing. If it's free, there's no effort, there's no boss you have to clear, nothing that you necessarily have to do. If it's just walking to get there, do it, because the time you save, if it's something that's good, or will guide you in a certain direction that you save over doing something else. It's just too good. Too good.
LUF found a grimoire there, Famars. That's going to be really nifty to get through that evil wall that's on Ordeals. Commander Leonhart heading down to the antline, noped out of Ordeals, needing to get some levels, finding the elements, going to find the magma key. There was the package for LUF.
You know what? The package is one of those interesting spots. Just illusions. So we did not see any sirens underground. That package is kind of like, if it's an objective, you're happy to see it. If it's not an objective, you're like, okay, it's another key item. I'm trying to get to 10 key items anyway. Other than that, you're like, nah, I'm good. I don't really want to do anything with this.
Could be everyone's favorite troll, though, of the D-Mist holding on to the Darkness Crystal with Adamant and Legend gated behind the Darkness Crystal.
And Karma, can you explain to us possibly why D-Mist is so important on these flag sets? I thought we had free characters and free stuff turned on. Why is D-Mist important?
Well, we have free characters turned on. That's why we've been seeing pickups in Mysidia, the Watery Pass, and Damsian and Mount Ordeals. But we don't have a free key item on. So normally Edward and Troya will be holding on to a key item, just waiting for you to come and visit him and tell him he's going to get better. Instead, the D-Mist boss needs to be defeated, and which will trigger Rydia's mom to appear in the Village of Mist, and that will get you a key item. Now, the D-Mist boss can appear in any of the randomized boss spots, so that's why a D-Mist hunt is good for chat and not good for the runners.
Awesome. So Commander Leonhart did pick up his magma key and is on his way to the underground, going to find the bad news: no sirens available, although he is less concerned about that with his Tella. LUF has not found Tella yet. Meanwhile, LUF is doing his kind of double check at this point, going into Sylph Cave and at least talking to Yang sitting in the bed, not necessarily doing anything, will at least activate his wife to realize, oh, my husband is avoiding me by being, half dead in the underground, that lazy sod. So she will, in the vanilla game, give you a pan to smack him in the head to wake him up. Because, traumatic brain damage is apparently what you need to do to wake up a monk.
Yeah, in chat, talking about Kanatsu at the Leviathan spot and Dark Knight Cecil at Asura. We refer to Dark Knight Cecil boss as the Pain Man because the damage scales with each boss spot that it's at. It does pretty small range of damage, and by small I mean either 200 to 300 or 100 or 1000 to 1100, and does that 3 times and at a very fast spot. You could be dead before you know it.
Meanwhile, LUF is on his way up the mountain as well. Commander Leonhart looks like did not get too far in those bosses. His Cecil is still a Dark Knight, so we'll still have to go up Ordeals to clear things out eventually. I got to imagine he's going to do something very similar to what LUF did. Check the shops, check his free item in the Fey March, and then get his, talk to Yang, and then ask Yang's wife what he would like to do.
Yeah, he hit the wall on this evil wall and decided it needed some more levels, needed some more items. Doing the normal loop around the underground is gonna net him some nice weaponry, as we're seeing a lightsaber, a blizzard spear for Kane. He doesn't have the Kane. While LUF may have his party in the wrong order, has the Yang in the back row.
I just saw Commander Leonhart check the job dwarf. One of the little Easter eggs that we added into this, I didn't see if LUF did it either, but that dwarf in in Tomra originally just says, "I am a farmer," and it doesn't have. It's like, what do you do with that in the game? That doesn't add anything into the game. So the free enterprise devs, being cheeky as they are, decided, well, we're just going to randomize what job that is, and it's probably going to be a pretty boring job. In this iteration, that job dwarf is a probation officer.
Yeah, I don't recall if Luff checked it either. I know Luff looted the storeroom, but not sure if he talked to the job dwarf or not. As Commander Leonhart starts working his way down to the Fey March, we have Luff working on this evil wall. While Commander Leonhart is retracing Luff's steps and Luff is working on the evil wall, I want to give a quick shout out to our runners. If you can give them a follow, putting on a good race for us. We're early in this match. They've had some route divergence, and also to our Restreamed team. Alska424 is the Restreamer, and X Pancras is the tracker, and my co-commentator Vitasia.
Meanwhile, Luff's got to be a little bit careful here. Just took a quick look. He was rearranging and kind of getting his party set up to continue going through ordeals here. He's getting ready to fight the unofficial other boss in Final Fantasy Free Enterprise, the inventory boss, which can really play havoc on your times if you're not careful.
I know I've fallen victim to the inventory boss a number of times. I always lose track of what I've looted because I like to loot a lot.
The Calbrenna fight here at the Mylan Z spot. This is interesting. I honestly love seeing Calbrenna, especially at an early spot like this, where using just one of those wonderful J items pretty well guarantees you a kill, except if you're going to use Blizzard, which is based on the HP of the character using it.
Yeah, same with Lip Bolt right behind it, but got the job done with both of those, and is through and gonna get a fully powered Tella and a Paladin Cecil.
Anything else like a Gaia Drum, even like a Zeus Bolt or anything like that, as long as it's not casting a level 1 spell, typically will take out a Calbrenna and everything. But yeah, Fire Bombs, Lit Bolts, and Blizzards are all those J items that do damage based on the HP of the character using them. And Luff finds the tower key. The tower key that unlocks the super cannon in the lower Tower of Babel.
That's an interesting find there. That's 2 checks now. A lot of people like to fade the tower in the underground until they find that tower key, unless you are pretty cheeky or running out of checks and you do it without the tower key, hoping it's either in the vanilla spot or it's your progression. Luff won't have to worry about that choice. We'll just try to find a way to route it in.
I didn't see Commander Leonhart at some point picked up a crystal armor, which is kind of a double-edged sword, for lack of a better term, in the free enterprise community. The crystal armor is, objectively speaking, the best armor that you can get in these flag sets that Cecil can equip. Highest defense, highest, it's just a fantastic piece of armor for Cecil. But you can sell it for a ton of money. And the reason why not a lot of people end up using it is because it also prevents the Berserk status. And if you have Cecil, you really kind of want to let him swing at will, especially when you get to Zeromus.
Yeah, and a lot of people have just been selling it. If you roll with 2 Cecils, maybe have your back row Cecil who's your anchor, wear it and cover people. There's a lot of strategy about when to sell it, when to use it too. The one instance where it doesn't prevent Berserk is if you have the Avenger Sword. Equipping that sword puts your character in a state of Berserk, whether or not they're immune to that status effect.
True. That is the one reason that people end up using it, if you end up finding that particular sword. The other reason that people end up keeping crystal sword is crystal armor is because, yes, it is an amazing piece of armor. you can back row glitch Cecil so that he is swinging free in the back row, and then let him sit in the back row and cover people, and you can kind of cheese your way through a lot of late game bosses that do a lot of physical damage if they're in the wrong spot. Like imagine Antlion at like a Masamune location. Back row Cecil can just cover just about everyone if he's one-shotting everyone else, and it becomes almost trivial.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, to back row glitch, it was something that was in the vanilla game. When you put a ranged weapon on a character who can use a ranged weapon, and you take that weapon off, the game doesn't realize that you've taken the weapon off and keeps that back row bit initialized. So you can have a character in the back row swinging for full damage, taking half damage from physical attacks, and not having to worry. All the benefits and none of the punishment. Commander Leonhart has finished their shopping trip and tourist trip of the underground. Looks like maybe checking that package character.
I can almost promise you he's looking for a Rosa, finds another Yang, and does reset out. I got to imagine the only character he's looking for at this point in time would be a Rosa sort of character, an upgraded white mage, effectively.
A Rosa, maybe a second Cecil. Oh, Commander Leonhart does have the cane. I thought he dropped the cane.
He reset out of that, remember? Because
I thought he walked back down.
No, he reset out of all of Mount Ordeals. Meanwhile, LUF is the first person with an objective complete at 123.40 or so. Gets through that pale dim at the waterfall. Meanwhile, Commander Leonhart is going to go ahead and do Fabul at this point in time. Did LUF already do the Fabul checks?
Has not, and that is where he is heading now, it looks like. So we will be getting a quick high five for our runners here in Fabul as they defend the castle and talk to Sheila 1. Ooh.
I mean, I'm super happy I kept that cane now. I don't know about Commander Leonhart. One interesting thing to note here, Vivalis is one of those bosses that cannot block your intended route into the underground. You have Vivalis, you have Golbez, and you have Wyvern. So if we hadn't already found the Magma Key, we would know as soon as this boss loaded up that our progress to get underground isn't here. Doesn't mean anything else couldn't necessarily be here, but that's something to keep in mind for later.
Yeah, having the cane, though, makes Vivalis a lot easier to deal with, will allow these Paladin spells to hit, and should be able to make short work of the air elemental. LUF's still doing some shopping. I'm not quite sure, maybe looking for life potions for maybe a future grind. Sirens can't be in the overworld shops, but there are still a number of other useful items that can be. Star Veils can be up here as well.
I just realized Commander Leonhart's entire party, except for Rydia for whatever reason, is still like level 10, like their starting levels. Meanwhile, LUF already has Paladin Cecil rolling.
Yeah, I didn't see if maybe Commander Leonhart had a rough time with that element spot, perhaps, and maybe only Rydia got through. Question chat, I was just confused by that as well. I believe Commander had dropped Cane for Tella, but reset completely out of Mount Ordeals, and that's why Commander has the Cane back.
Meanwhile, Rat Tail is the key item for at least defending Fabul. We're going to see what Sheila, Yang's wife, ends up giving to us for informing her that her husband is, concussed and in a coma underground.
The Baron Key. Now that's a very interesting check. That unlocks 2 key item checks and a character. If for those who are still looking for characters, we also haven't peeked the Baron in, or at least if we did, I missed it completely.
You know, I think it wouldn't be I think LUF is in a position where he's going to go ahead and go right to Baron at this point in time. Commander Leonhart, though, does not have the levels to really deal with that right now. I don't think. Probably going to go try to tackle Ordeals now.
That would be my objective if I was Commander Leonhart. Get Ordeals done, get those 3 bosses out of the way, get your Teled, your Cecil up and going. I would agree with you with LUF 2. LUF's not quite strong enough, I think, to go and handle Dwarf Castle and the tower. We haven't found any gear that's really spectacular for Yang and Cecil, and I believe Kane as well, to really be swinging away at those bosses. So probably going to do a little bit more searching, a little bit more levels as Yang is in the Baronet.
Really, at this point in time, the best piece of gear that it looks like we've gotten at this point has been that lightsaber for Cecil. Otherwise, yeah, it's been... I mean, we've got a power robe and the cat claw, which will help out Yang. I mean, if you're giving him the power robe, but other than that, yeah, it's been kind of a... I don't know, a dry seed so far. You know, you have to rely more on strategy and less on the gear carrying you.
Yeah, Dr. Luge, some like to call him the Dr. Dialogue because of the amount of talking done with this one fight split in 2. A good spot to see him, though, because he won't be at a later spot that will split the XP.
True. More than that, you have a Palom who already has his Lit 2, and Tella who has, you know, he'll be able to cast Virus and also Lit 3. All of these, because they're considered machines, are weak to lightning. Thunder Claws are actually also really beneficial here if you happen to have found one. But this is a fantastic spot for Luge, that you can take this boss on a little bit under-leveled and still get through it. So Commander Leonhart might not be in so bad shape here.
Yeah, the second phase fight has a lot of HP percent based attacks, so not entirely punished for being under-leveled. As chat was also pointing out, a dwarf axe was found, which is the only weapon without glitches that can back row glitch Kane.
Oh, Luff gets through it, and we have Twin Harp in the Baron Inn. Bad Karma. This is another one of the original memes of Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise, and it's more than a meme. It's hard coded into the game itself.
Yes, so during the vanilla game, you reach a point where you use the Twin Harp. Edward gets out of the bed after he's been, stricken and with, falling into the ocean, and he gets out of the bed heroically, plays his harp, and allows you to beat the Dark Elf. In Free Enterprise, that music that Edward plays is randomized, and it's typically from other RPGs, other pop culture, and it's all done with a harp.
So here we see Cecil getting his back row glitch on right now. He equipped a bow in order to get his lightsaber to where he is now back row set up. Ninja, I'm really iffy about that ninja hat on a Cecil because that does increase his agility by, I think, 3 off the top of my head. So considering Cecil is your agility anchor here, he's going to make bosses go a little bit faster by putting any sort of Agi plus gear on him.
Early game, it's not so bad. You can have a faster anchor. It's when you get into those Dwarf Castle checks and those Tower Babel checks where you would want to take that ninja hat off. But if Luff is planning to go into the Twin Harp or Baron, it's not actually terrible to have a faster anchor there. As Commander Leonhart is also through the Baron Inn and gonna go pick up that Porum now.
I think he's a little bit, I'm not going to say tilted, but he's confused because usually by now there's at least some gear you can say, okay, I feel comfortable doing certain things in the game. And honestly, this has been, we talked about it a second ago, this has been kind of a dry seed where you're not comfortable with any of these early fights. So Commander Leonhart's going to have to make a choice here before too long. When does he go ahead, make the dive into Ordeals, turn his Cecil online, get his Tella? Looks like he's committed now to a Porum, a real white mage. Meanwhile, LUF is just kind of strolling along at this point. Already did Ordeals, has his Cecil back row glitched, has decent equipment at this point, and now doing the Baron Castle checks.
LUF is doing something that I like to do in races, and I know it can be punishing at times. He's just following the key items that he gets. Got the Baron key from Fable, from the Shield of One check, got the Twin Harp from the Baron Inn. These are checks that are relative to his power. So he's not going to gain a big chunk of levels from these fights, but they are going to be easier to do because these are some of the levels you would be in the vanilla run. And as chat's pointed out, time to find out which blue robe. Now, this could be either the Water Hag or the Alt Gauntlet. Vitasia, can you explain what the Alt Gauntlet is?
Absolutely. Let's see if LUF is going to show us it is the Alt Gauntlet. So, normally, all of the bosses are randomized in various locations across, and they take the battle power and all the stats of the location, but then the skill sets and the moves of whatever the bosses that we're using. However, one of the bosses that are included is that Defend Fabul, where normally it's like Weepers and there's a gargoyle in there and some soldiers, and it's kind of ho-hum at that point in time. So what we've done instead is turned on the Alt Gauntlet flag for this tournament. The Alt Gauntlet takes 5 fights that are from the area where the boss is normally located, just 5 of the random enemy encounters, and says, here's your boss, 5 random enemies from the area. Now, they're specific encounters per area, so it's not overly randomized like we're too concerned about randomization in this community, but that way you can at least practice a little bit. So you have like these crocodiles. Sometimes you have large groups of lots of enemies that you need to sweep through. Sometimes you get, for example, up on the moon, there's a fatal eye that's up there. The Alt Gauntlet at the Masamune location is particularly nasty because you start getting red dragons and evil masks and things like that. It really puts an interesting spin on where that is.
Yeah, it took one free fight out of the pool and made it not quite a free fight. In a lot of cases it is, as you're seeing LUF make pretty short work of these fights, but it's time as well. And if it's at a spot where you don't have to go, then, that's time that you did and your opponent didn't.
I think the biggest thing about Alt Gauntlet is that it's a time sink. Redoing, ending fight, starting fight, ending fight, starting fight. If it's going through a required location and your opponent is going to go through it as well, it's not a huge deal. But man, there's nothing worse than feeling like you're behind and then getting to an Alt Gauntlet fight and having to kill everything and then restart the fight 5 different times. It just makes you feel even further behind.
Yeah, Commander Leonhart attempted to get an Odin. So a lot of boss battles, they have a boss bit on, so instant death attacks like Odin cannot work. Calbrenna is a weird one because the back dolls do not have the boss bit, but they're still immune to some instant death attacks. But the front dolls, you can use Odin against them, and the check for if Odin hits or not happens against the front dolls. So if Odin does decide to come out, it can wipe out all 6 dolls.
Calbrenna goes down. Meanwhile, LUF finds Bahamut has been pretending to be the king of Baron, guys. I mean, he's already got 1 kingdom. What does he need another one for?
Got tired of ruling a moon that, wasn't really hopping. With this party, though, this will be a pretty free fight. Bahamut does a countdown. You put up a Star Veil, reflect his Mega Nuke back at him, and he's dead unless you kill him beforehand.
Yeah, this party is pumping out enough damage. Yeah, no concerns there whatsoever. Meanwhile, Commander Leonhart does end up transforming his Cecil, so is on the right path at this point. Cecil starts at level 1, but still able to pump out some damage with the right equipment.
It'll be interesting to see where Commander Leonhart goes, if he follows that Baron Key or the Harp or the Tower.
Meanwhile, we have a vanilla Sid as the character. I don't anticipate us getting it. Sid is one of those interesting characters where he's pretty good early game and can solo some fights early game. But by the time you get to this midpoint,
around this time is where Sid kind of loses his overpoweredness. I still like Sid in the long run. He has a lot of health, can wear a lot of heavy armor, can take a lot of hits for you to, throw items, be a good chemist in the Threemus fight. But I'm not, he's right in the middle of the pack too. If I find somebody who I have a higher priority for, Sid's usually the first to go.
He is the least melee-tastic of the melee fighters. And that's an adamant, one of our 2 required key items for that first objective in forging the sword. And when you have Cecil, you know what? You don't necessarily mind going ahead and setting things up for that. Because if you can get an Excalibur to equip Cecil in addition to completing an objective, I'm fine with that.
And LUF immediately heads down to Dwarf Castle. We do have the warp glitch on, so in the vanilla game, at this point, if Iridia has the warp spell, and because of some fantastic programming, the crystal room that LUF is about to enter is actually the same crystal room as in the end of the sealed cave. If you cast warp after this fight, these 2 fights, it will actually transport you to the sealed cave, and you can get the key item from there. That's important for this flag set because objective number 4 is just unlock the sealed cave. You don't have to go all the way down.
Meanwhile, LUF does find the Mon Bomb, which is... This is a rude spot for Mon Bomb, honestly.
Yeah, normally the spot has 8,000 health. You gotta do extra damage to kill Mon Bomb without her splitting up. It'll be a little hard to get that done with this power level before she explodes and you have to deal with 6 smaller bombs hitting you.
Yeah, I don't know if LUF has the damage to get through it. Got through Baron Castle, but this is several levels after that in the vanilla game, so really it'll be interesting to see how this holds up.
Question in chat, they do not reform into the Mon Bomb, they just explode in your face. Although that virus is hitting a lot harder than I would have thought, it is possible that maybe LUF can take this down before Mon Bomb explodes.
And it looks like he's counting on the explode and is just kind of sitting on Palom in order to be able to sweep through here with viruses. Oof.
That's a nasty explosion right there. Should be able to clean this up though, at least to get through it. Not sure what their status will be afterwards.
Yeah, that's the most difficult part. Oh, HP ran out. Great job, Virus. So this is kind of an interesting spot because LUF is doing. I mean, he got through the fight, but getting through the fight may not be good enough. If this is something that has an opening attack like a Leviathan, it would be really bad news for LUF. And It is the
Ooh.
Magus sisters.
The one saving grace. Oh,
Oh.
that's a saving grace.
He's like, who do I? He's really torn at this point. He's ditching Palom.
Ooh.
He's going all melee strats at this point.
Has a full moon, has a mute knife.
That would be amazing. Mute knife is what you want to. Oh, LUF, mute knife.
The reason why we are calling for LUF to throw the mute knife on, the mute knife does 4 times damage to mage types, and the Magus sisters are mage type.
The one nice thing about this fight is that, surprisingly, Golbez is supposed to be an intimidating fight, which is who you normally fight here. He has surprisingly weak magic attack. So these spells that the sisters were tossing around aren't going to do that much damage. We saw, 37 damage being dealt to that Cecil. So probably going to end this fight doing all right.
Yeah, chat pointing out this spot usually only has about 3,000 HP and split between the 3 sisters, so making quick work of this without it.
All right, LUF gets through. We'll be able to warp glitch with Tella, and for Swole Boys, I guess he's going for Zerk strats. If he's planning on continuing and keeping this party, he's swapped out quite a few people as he's gone through here.
And in the group stage, we have the C buy flag on, which means that once you dismiss a character, they're gone. Normally, without that flag, they would be hanging out in Mysidia. You could go back and grab them, but instead, they just disappear and go take a nap somewhere.
All right, so we are given a golden apple for our first trouble, and then we are warp glitching. This could give us some really great information. It is Dragoon Lance.
Nice weapon for Kane.
I mean, that's fantastic for Kane. It's one of his 2 kind of best in slot weapons, really. More importantly, if we ever find sirens, we can do that egg grind, and Kane will be able to do quad damage against those eggs because they count as dragons.
Yeah, Kane being able to one-shot the dragons will be really nice later on. We find Wyvern, we find Paladin, which we already took care of.
This is what I think is almost the no-brainer play that LUF is doing at this point in time. He's got the tower key. Now he has an edge. Going into this lower Tower of Babel, and I can almost promise you, he's going to start opening some treasure chests in here. Or not. LUF, why do you make a liar out of me?
Maybe doing it on the way down. Maybe running through, seeing what he gets from the top.
So edge here in the lower Tower of Babel is actually super important because the alerts that are in the trap treasure chest, and I believe there are 4 trap treasure chests here in the lower Tower of Babel, but you can steal sirens from the alerts. And they don't have just one. You can keep stealing and steal. It's not like other Final Fantasy games where as soon as you steal from a character, his pockets are empty. No, alerts have bottomless pockets in this game, and you can get all the sirens that you can possibly want. Sirens, of course, allow you to effectively initiate a fight at any given location, and really important if you're planning on certain grinds that are available.
Yeah, LUF reminded that he has 3 Soma drops in his inventory. He uses all 3 on Tella. Dark Elf here is going to be weak to that lightsaber that Cecil's wielding.
But it is also 2 key item checks, because we can go up here to the top of the lower Babel, defeat this boss, as well as the Super Cannon boss. Dark Elf, this This should be doable.
Magic's really low here. Dr. Luge, not a fan of magic, so decided not to practice any of his spells, just using robotics instead.
That said, weak is still weak. It does not matter.
Weak and Piggy definitely still going to hit here as Commander Leonhart picks up his adamant. Now, the one advantage that Commander Leonhart has is whenever he does go to Dwarf Castle, he still has his forum. And the reason I say that is Commander Leonhart takes that edge. There's a bug in Forum's Cry ability to where it was supposed to do something else entirely, and instead, it increases Edge's chance to steal.
Early 90s programming on the Super Nintendo, folks.
As LUF is through the Dark Elf, and let's see what gets to the party rock, the Earth Crystal.
Meanwhile, Commander Leonhart was so fast we didn't even get to see what that boss was. He's like, nope. It was worth a check, but nope.
I don't think he intended to take that fight at all. All of his characters were still at really low HP.
Oh, but meanwhile, Commander Leonhart looks like he's heading over to music.
That randomized heart music, the chat loves to see it. We love to hear it. Oh, and hello, Wyvern.
Oh, that's a rude spot for a wyvern. Hey, but hey, Cecil survived it somehow. So I gotta think, unless LUF is going to be getting something else dramatic, he is going to go up into the overworld. Being able to route together the Earth Crystal and the Twin Harp is just an amazing 1-2 check at that point in time. So I get the impression, unless it's something else, like maybe the Darkness Crystal, he'll route something different, but otherwise, I gotta think that's where he's going.
I would honestly be heading that way. I don't want to take those Fey March bosses.
Yeah, those Fey March bosses look rude.
Our restreamer did point out Commander Leonhart's stream is going a little stuttery. We're not sure how well this music's going to go, but we are going to give it a try.
Looks like we're just going to stick with LUF's audio at this point in time. Oh!
Commentator blessing or curse?
Yeah. So he's going to immediately do that.
I've got to expect, see. He's at 9 key items, though.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, so LUF is still probably searching for an easy way to grind. He's got his Tela. He could theoretically be setting up a grind in order to be getting ready, because he's not ready to take on the Vanilla White Spear Altar, unless it's a free boss. Maybe check the item shop up on the moon that's available to us. Maybe check the character if you're not happy with your party.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see who's up there. LUF flying that big whale could be setting up for a D-Machine grind. Does not have a lot of healing, which could be problematic.
Yeah, that's what I'm most worried about for LUF right now. And Commander Leonhart, let's see, he's kind of in an interesting spot right now too. So gets through that. We'll see what key item Commander ends up finding.
Spoon. Eddie's still hanging out on hops.
We still haven't done Earth Crystal checks yet. Commander is going to have to effectively at this point either do Dwarf Castle or Tower. I mean, no other options at this point. Yeah, LUF is hunting for characters right now. He wants a Rosa. He wants a real white mage.
I actually think LUF may be looking for a demist. Check the vanilla demist spot first before going to Hobbs. And I believe Commander Leonhart is heading to grab that Eddie.
What? Is he gonna do it? He's going the Spoony Bard strats? Meanwhile, LUF is going to do one of our favorite new memes here. Ladies and gentlemen of the free enterprise community, can you rate that treasury? Here's a Siren Murasame. That's nice. Coffin.
I'm gonna have to go with a 2 out of 10 on that one, Vitasia. While the Murasame and the Protect Ring are nice, not what you really want to pull out of there.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. It's beneficial, but it's not like, oh my god, wow. So I'm gonna give a little bit more. I'm gonna be more generous. I'm 4 out of 10. It had stuff that was beneficial, but I'm not blown away by that one.
LUF making the play to Twin Harp, gonna be rewarded with that 10th key item in the spoon. Why is 10 key items so important, Vitasia?
So 10 key items is just incredibly important, because at the point where you get 10 key items, the developers determined, hey, you've probably been searching around long enough. We're going to make this game faster for you. So it doubles the experience that everything gives you as soon as you have 10 key items. Pass doesn't count, so don't count that when you're counting up all the key items, even though it's on the tracker. But as soon as you get that 10th key item, all of a sudden, all the experience is doubled. Any boss that you might do, any grind that you might do, that just makes it that much faster to get up to speed.
Yeah, so instead of doing, 8, 9 D machines, maybe only has to do 3 or 4. Commander Leonhart making the right play here. Must have had a sixth sense that the Dwarf Castle was completely void of any key items, climbing to the top of the tower.
Oh, we do have music now, though. We're gonna focus on the music for now. Oh, and Luff gets through that. That was the rendition of Tall Tall Heights from Link's Awakening. That sounded fantastic, by the way.
That was great. And you know what else was great? Chat pointed out that Commander Leonhart went full meme, not only gave Kane 10 MP from a Soma drop, also gave Edward 10 MP.
Chat, I do believe, and I'm going to go out on a limb when I say this, but I believe that Commander Leonhart might love you. So I want you to sort through your feelings about that and be ready to tell him how you feel in return, because clearly he's doing everything he can to make you fall in love with him as well. I'm just saying.
LUF is going to skip the Earth Crystal check, flying over to Baron. Gonna grab his whale first. So
Yeah.
there are.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So there are a number of different grind options now that LUF is getting double XP. There's the egg grind, finding sirens, stealing sirens from with edge, to just summon eggs that have yellow dragons in them, giving you 36,000, or in his case, 68,000, something I can't remember, 72,000. I can't do math. And cracking eggs. There's warlocks where you can use sirens to summon them, gold dragons, sirens and hourglasses. Then there's two grinds on the giant. They have the Mac Giant grind and the D Machine grind. Both of them are set up the same way. And because we have the can't run flag on, our community has found a way around it. They were able to figure out the RNG manipulation to do some fights outside of Baron, and based on how many steps it took them to get a fight, they know exactly when to go into the giant to get their D Machine. So that is what LUF is doing. It looked like on the first or second step there, which was really nice.
Yeah, so he's got to complete a couple more fights, I believe. Chat pointing out that Commander Leonhart is getting ready to turn in his tower key. Remember, we did have a Wyvern there. He's got a relatively... I mean, his party's all right at this point, but he doesn't have that fast edge to help out to get a reflect off. This might be tough without turning down the battle speed for Commander Leonhart.
Yeah, and I do have to correct myself. It looks like Kane did not receive the 10 MP. It was only Edward. As LUF has his manipulation set up and is heading into the giant, as Commander Leonhart is going to be greeted with the Wyvern. Possibly good that he saved, although the Wyvern here does not have a lot of HP. It's around 1,000.
Yeah, it's really very low, and his Cecil could possibly survive this as well.
Got the start veil up. For those who don't know, within the Discord, which if you're interested in running Free Enterprise, please join the Discord. There's a lot of good information in there, including on how to set up the D Machine grind that LUF is doing right now. In the Newbies Corner, there's a pinned guide on how to do this manipulation.
Yeah, LUF did remember to put Tella into that center slot. Remember, in the game, whoever is in the middle slot actually gets a boost to their... I'm not going to call it accuracy, but that's effectively what it is. So that, if Tella is somewhere else, it's possible that he will miss. Putting him in that middle slot reduces the possibility of him missing that. And let me tell you, there is nothing that will end a D Machine grind more than Tella missing on casting the weak spell. Yeah,
nothing can ruin your D Machine grind more than Tella missing that missing the week when you're trying to get a life glitch. When you're about to see, he's going to cast life on one of these beamers. In the vanilla game, when you use life on somebody, their vitality determines on how much health they come back with. Every monster in Final Fantasy IV has 0 vitality, but you still use the life on them and still brought them back to life. They just came back with no health, but the game still counts it as if they came back and died again, so you get double the experience. So we're gonna see Tella cast weak. Kane looks like he's gonna punch him, and Cecil's throwing a life, and now that counts as 2 D machines.
Part of the reason the D machine grind is so attractive is because the D machine itself will only ever cast fire on your party. And fire does only do a percentage of the total HP of your character. So you can set it up to where, you know, you're coming in here at really low levels that have no business going in here with. Do a weak, punch it, life potion glitch, and it's really a very impressive way of getting a lot of experience very, very quickly. Now, it helps to have some ethers and things to prepare to throw on Tella, because his MP pool is normally not all that great, only 90 MP, so he can only naturally cast weak 3 times, 4 if you throw a Soma drop on him. But even then, you plan on doing more than that for your drive.
Yeah, question in chat, why Commander hasn't done the waterfall yet. Commander did peek the waterfall earlier. Saw it was pale dim and just hasn't gone back to it, so maybe hasn't found a way to route it back in. Also with the pass, you know, he can complete that waterfall objective on his way to using the pass of Troya. As Commander Leonhart heading to the moon, gonna check out to see if the moon shop has the missing sirens, see what character is up there.
We did not see this from LUF earlier, did we?
LUF has not gone to the moon. Grabbed his darkness crystal and went straight to the giant. Well, with the side of music on the way.
Sirens are here. Oh, this... I know that LUF has been kind of ahead of the curve up to this point in time, and Commander has had some unfortunate deaths and reroutes and things like that, but Sirens are a considerably easier grind. And he has, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's got his 10 key items. This could be the opportunity that Commander is looking for to catch up here.
One notable difference. While Chad is pointing out Rydia has the Dragon Whip, she's not all that strong. The Dragoon Lance, however, is behind the Dwarf Castle in the Warp Beach.
Yeah, if I'm Commander Leonhart, I know what I'm doing. And he's also picking this character, probably hoping for a superior white mage.
A white mage, maybe. Well, no, Commander Leonhart has one. Another Rydia.
Sometimes you play the randomizer, and sometimes the randomizer plays you.
Commander doesn't know about the Edge and Dwarf Castle. There's also another character. We haven't seen a Sand Ruby. I don't know who the character is in the bed. I don't think that's been peaked. And there's a character at the end of the Giant, if you feel so willing.
Yeah, both characters have 10 key items. LUF, the only one with any objectives done. If you're both of these runners, you're sitting at 106 and you're probably going, oh no, I'm behind. I think both of these characters are kind of playing from that mentality at this point in time, that they're behind and they have to maybe play a little bit more risky than they need to. There's a lot on the line for this race.
Commander Leonhart doing a pretty big gamble. Gonna go peek that boss at the White Spear Altar. There are a number of free bosses still available that could be here. Now, the White Spear Altar only gives about 30-something K XP before the double. So not a huge XP infusion, but if it's free, that's one of less objectives that Commander Leonhart has to worry about.
Wylam is asking, does Leonhart have hourglasses? Nope. Nope. I don't know. Have we even seen hourglasses?
We haven't, and the only place left they could be would be either the Coco Shop or Evelyn Cave.
No, I do really like this check from Commander Leonhart. This is something that, if you're feeling behind, go ahead and check those far out there. Because if this is a free boss and your opponent went out of his way to avoid it, thinking it was a bad one, I mean, this could be a game changer. Ooh. Nah, this is a reset move at this point, honestly. Antline, this is one of those bosses that is going to punch hard. We were talking about setting up the back row Cecil to where he can cover your folks. That would probably be the only way that I would feel comfortable doing this fight right now. And even then, he's not set up very well for this fight. He's getting ready to... Got to think that he's going to be resetting before long.
Question in chat about why do the D machine instead of eggs. The main answer is you can get all this XP without having a menu, go into the Siren. You can get pretty efficient at doing that. The other reason too is this is one fight. So if you do have somebody who could be slingshotted, what we mean by that is when you have a party of 5. If you have a character that is lower than 5 levels of the middle person's level, then that person will get another double experience. So they can essentially get 4 times experience. Cecil starts at level 1, Rydia starts at level 1. So if you get that Moon Rydia, take her to D Machine, she's going to get 4 times XP.
Oh, and so our party is in the mid-50s now.
Tella did not get any XP. I'm not sure if LUF remembers that vanilla agility is on. Welcome Free Enterprise for the raid. Please keep... I'm hoping that submission went well. I'm so used to saying keep the spoilers for the race.
Meanwhile, Commander Leonhart is going to find this relatively disappointing... He's not had edge. This would absolutely be like a 1 or 2 of 10 for Commander Leonhart because he's just avoided Dwarf Castle up to this point in time. Finds 1 Siren and a coffin, so he's like, okay, I can make 1 egg.
Well, and Commander Leonhart knows that Sirens are up on the map.
He is going full for the memes with Spoony Bard at this point in time. I admire his commitment to the memes. I sincerely do.
Yeah, he is doing the full support of this Spoony Bard.
Meanwhile, so Commander Leonhart is actually going to be the first person to go through this Tower of Zot at this point in time. I think he'll be fine in terms of his levels. I think his party set up. He has not done his grind yet. LUF did just finish his grind. You got to get the sense that he's not necessarily happy with his party, though. He's got 4 melee fighters, decent equipment. I wouldn't call it fantastic equipment, but decent equipment. But certainly not enough to get through Z without getting hit with some pretty hard big bangs. And he's only got Tella for a white mage.
I did forget, didn't we see Bacchus ones in one of the shops?
We did. I believe that was Tamra. Help me out, chat. But I do think we did see it, yeah.
Then may not need a white mage for Zeromus. With 4 heavy hitters in the 50s swinging away, all berserk with Bacchus wines, you may only see one big bang. As Commander Leonhart finds the Baron guards and Zot uses a coffin, drops them down. Interesting to see if we can find a Rosa or maybe another Edge up here. Another Tella. Have you heard of second Tella?
I mean, that's what I do every morning when I wake up every day, is take a second Tella. By that I mean second Tella is almost worthless. Like, you know, you want a first Tella to be able to cast weaken, things like that.
Not a white mage.
At this point, I'm desperate. Yeah, I'm taking that white mage.
He has 4 of them already.
No.
LUF is the one looking for a white mage.
At this point, I'm comfortable saying that Rosa, I don't believe, will be appearing anywhere. We've checked just about every spot, and CPU. Man, CPU is one of those fights that no matter where you get it, it's just going to be a little slow.
Yeah, and I wanted to point out the complete difference in parties here. You know, on Commander Leonhart's side, we have Radio, we have Edward, we have Forum. And on the other side, we have Edge, Tella, and Yang. With the shared Cecil and Kane. It's been pretty rare in these group flags that we've had this big of a party divergence.
That's true. I mean, sometimes we'll see 1, maybe 2 character party divergence, but this is most of the party at this point.
And we'll see what the Tower of Zot yields to Commander Leonhart, as LUF is going to work on this Antlion. Yang punching away without cat claws.
Yeah, without any claws. That's kind of interesting to see.
Oh! That was a legend sword.
Oh my. That's kind of important, I think. That's go mode for Commander Leonhart.
Just needs the levels. Now, it would be really interesting if Lukaki is at this altar.
Well, this is kind of one of the interesting things about this particular tournament and the 3 out of 4 setup is that we don't know where that Lukaki is. I mean, this will be a key item check. So right now, LUF has 2 of his 4 of 3 objectives that he needs to be done. Just a pink tail. Like, this is... Whew.
The apples are in the cocoa shop.
Man, if I have the money, I'm buying enough apples to help me out with that Porum.
And LUF showing you don't want to use all your Cure 3s because then you're using Cure 2s from your Cecil. Haven't seen cabins anywhere, so having to do manual heals to get his party back up. Oh,
a free water hag here. Edge is punching. LUF, what are you doing?
I'm not sure. Now, this would have been interesting if Commander Leonhart had peeked some of the other bosses on the moon. Could have found this water hag.
Yeah, re-equipping his party now, realizing, oh, there's mistakes have been made. All right, Luff, what are you finding? Assassin in a pan. Ooh.
Now, do you go check that pan right now? Or do you finish clearing this moon?
Honestly, I'm one of those. It's my opinion is if you make a commitment to a gamble, you follow through with that commitment. Luff, in this case, has foregone doing the Earth Crystal. He's foregone some of the other checks on Earth. Once you're on the moon, you gotta stick with your gamble. You got too many other checks here. You're only looking as far as he's concerned. He's only looking for one key item, either the Legend Sword or the Luca key. So he's got enough checks up here on the moon that he's only going to leave if he finds one of those two.
Another free. Oh my goodness, this is your grind. You have a free Water Hag and you have a free King Queen Evelyn at the Ogopogo altar. This could have been Commander Leonhart's grind.
Could have been, but I mean, he made the decision to go up and check and then ditched out, and that's a perfectly valid check. So he's doing his grind now. Here's the weird thing: Luff is getting really no benefit from this grind. He's got the levels already. I mean, his Young is going to punch maybe a little bit harder, but at some point it's overkill.
Yeah, and Commander's noping out and going to Zai gave him go mode, so he really just, it's still a benefit to him. Luff needs that Luca key to show up.
Oh, just a packet slide. Oof. All right, so Commander Leonhart is actually kind of in an interesting spot right now. His Cecil is at level 45 right now, which is, if you don't do anything strange with his equipment, is where you want to kill him so he's at the perfect agility. Commander does not. He's going to let his Cecil swing free at this point and say whatever his agility may end up at, we'll deal with.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting. Now, me personally, I don't understand agility manipulation myself. I couldn't explain it to you. All I know is you want a low number, but not somewhere in the 20s. That's all I really know.
Yeah, so it's agility manipulation is incredibly complex in this particular game, and it all boils down to, Cecil's relative agility impacts how fast your characters go compared to him, but the enemies also are based their speed on how fast Cecil or the middle spot's agility is. So if Cecil is much, much, much slower than everyone else in your party, it means the rest of your party is going to be getting additional turns over the boss or whoever you're fighting. And especially with Threemus, low is good, 20s is bad unless you can hit that sweet spot of 28. Because at 28, it's, every multiple of 14 is kind of a sweet spot for Threemus where you're going to be getting more turns.
As Luff left the Crystal Sword altar, the Murasame altar, and Cave Value, and is checking that pan.
Yeah, I think you got to do this if you're Luff. You're like, you did the free checks, the ones that aren't going to take a whole lot of time. So you're like, let's do this. Commander Leonhart
one-shotted the Pale Dim with the Dragon Whip. Only has an Antlion barring his way to that Zeromus fight.
So you got to be feeling pretty good if you're Commander Leonhart right now, because it looks like he's comfortable with his levels. Although, keep in mind, 2 of his party members are both Porum and Rydia and Edward. So 3 of his party members, they're all among the worst HP growth that you could possibly get in the entire game. and he's getting ready to go fight Z with those particular setups. You got to be, I would call the term, he's got some brass right now, because I would be too nervous to take this party up to the moon, honestly.
He could be banking on, he's got to kill Antlion. Maybe he does check that ribbon altar or that ribbon room to see, maybe it is a free boss and would be rewarded with that check.
All right, so LUF doing the pan, and it is a life staff. And he
immediately resets. Could have checked the rat tail.
He reset. Whoa.
It would have to go regain that hook if Lukaki is behind the rat tail.
And he forgot to re-equip his edge, too. That is... I mean, that's... I don't know if I can sugarcoat it. That's a mistake. And that's a costly mistake in this particular race.
I gotta say, unless LUF finds the Lukaki here, I think we're gonna see Commander Leonhart hit Threemus first.
I'm thinking so. I think even it would take a lot, even for LUF. If this is the Lukaki, he's got to go down, unlock the key, but then he's got the pass. So, I mean, it'll be tight, but I do think that's what it will end up taking LUF to get back in this race. This has to be the Lukaki in order for him to have a chance right now. Although, Threemus isn't free with this party.
That life staff probably would have helped make it a little bit more free. But doing the save scum is definitely the right move if you don't get that quick value that you were looking for. Zoo Scholars.
That is not what you were hoping for.
Still has 2 more moon checks. I don't know about you, Vitasia. I'm on the edge of my seat.
No, this is just fantastic. And this is what you want to see from this stage in the hook route. These are two very talented runners. Ran into some hard luck in the group stages, so ended up having to go through the more difficult route. The winner here will join the 7. There will be 7 total runners in the first race of the hook route, where the winner of that race will move on to tables. The loser will then join all the other folks who went 2-1 in hook, in addition to all the other people who didn't win the first hook race. So 24 total. And that's going to be a free-for-all. That's just going to be a nightmare of a race. So there's a chance. But man, it's just a whole lot of stress for those folks in the hook route.
Do you like leg?
I do like some leg.
LUF doing a quick check, see if he had some ice claws. The magic power here, not super high.
So Commander Leonhart is doing his last required objective right now. He is at the White Spear altar to get his last objectives, which will reward him with the crystal, and he could just zoom right over here to Threemus. The problem is, his party, he's got 2 fantastic melee characters, 1 glass cannon of a melee character, and then Rydia and Forum.
So we have some folks in chat who are, following along, saying they may be a little lost. So what we have here, we have 4 objectives. You get the crystal. In the vanilla game, you need the crystal to show Threemus' true form. As Commander Leonhart is being rewarded with his. We have a number of bosses that can be free, where they really don't do a whole lot of stuff. And a number of bosses, depending on where they are, can be rude. For example, Rubicant here is not that bad because the magic power for the Fire 2 counters not going to hurt you that much. As another Murasame for LUF.
That's got to be, because let me see, we haven't checked Masamune altar, I think.
Yeah, we did. That was the Bacchus.
That was the Bacchus. Okay, so that means the Luca key has to be
Summon boss. Could be Bahamut, Odin, Feymarch bosses. Or
True.
the Rat Tail.
Rat Tail, yeah.
And we're seeing some flags in chat, Vitasia.
That's right. The last and final meme that we have in the community, and the last thing we randomize, we cannot put Zeromus and his big bangs in the middle of the race. We can't randomize Zeromus in with the rest of the bosses, but we wanted to still include the theme of randomization in with this randomizer. So we have a wonderful curation team of folks. When you use the crystal, of course, Zeromus reveals his true form, and his true form is one of over 450 sprites collected and curated by our wonderful admins. So of course the question becomes, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
And as Commander Leonhart begins his Zeromus fight, LUF finds Threemus at cave value. Who do you like to see as the Z sprite, Vitasia? I'm a big fan of Flip Tablemus.
I love the jokes, the joke sprites that are out there. There's joke sprites. There's final bosses from other games that make guest appearances. It does look like we have M. Bisonmus, though.
A very intimidating sprite.
He doesn't cast Big Bang. He casts that weird, twirl tornado thing that is undodgeable and unblockable and whatever the heck he does.
I like to think that his Big Bang is the head stomp.
Oof. Yeah. Yeah, just clarifying, the fight mechanically is always the same. It's just flavoring that we add. This isn't meant to be spicy. It isn't meant to be trolly. It's just, adding some extra flavor to the seed. I don't know if we've ever run a public seed that didn't randomize the Z sprite because it's just so popular.
Yep, so the Big Bang attack has an interesting mechanic where if you hit Zeromus with a direct spell at the right times, it can make the Big Bang attack nerfed. So as you saw there, it only did about 900-ish, between the characters. And LUF found a tiara. The moon was pretty haunted today, chat. But anyway, as long as you can continually nerf the Big Bang, the party having this small amount of health won't be that big a deal because it goes from topping out of damage between 2200, it may top out at about 1100.
Oh, he's going for Quint. He's got the rest of his party zerked. Commander Leonhart, another meme, all of his party is berserked. The Quint strats.
So what we mean by that, all 5 characters are now berserk. He's just set his controller down, and he is having all 5 of his characters wail on Zeromus, hoping that Zeromus will die before another Big Bang comes out.
This is gaming at its highest level, folks. Is setting it on automatic and setting your controller down and getting a beer and saying, let the cards fall where they may.
And I don't know if that shake was for another Big Bang incoming, or if that means we're in phase 2.
Threemus was just a crystal ring. Here's a Big Bang, so I gotta think some characters are gonna drop.
LUF flying back, gonna get that hook. Oh, rocks.
Rock's falling as some of his party dies.
Kane dodged it.
Flash.
GG's to Commander Leonhart. So as we are getting, we'll get the official time here in a second. We want to note that due to some of the streaming issues that Commander had, the admin team is going to verify Commander's local recording to ensure that the time is correct. But with a race spot time of 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 0 seconds, we have Commander Leonhart, and we will see about getting him in here for an interview.
Just a fantastic run by Commander, really playing from behind that entire race until that Earth Crystal. And we're joined now by Commander Leonhart, going from 0-3 in group now to 3-0 in the Hook Swiss rounds. GG's, Commander Leonhart.
Thank you.
Man of the people, let me tell you.
Every meme that I could think of, you went and did.
Somewhere about 15 minutes in, it was like, okay, there's my window of seeing my way through the seed in a way that gets me first. I felt it shrinking and shrinking and shrinking as the seed went on. And it eventually got to a point of, okay, I turned away Tella and Darkness. I've rejected D-Machine. I've rejected the high-level play. Therefore, I've rejected the mages. Therefore, I've rejected the moon checks. I'm now in some mad place of, let's lean on melee and hope I don't have to grind much, which could have burned in a horrible trash fire. But fortunately, there was a spoon, and there were Bacchuses for sale, and there was a heroine robe for Myridia, and yeah. And fortunately, there was that Excalibur.
The only one you missed that, unless I missed it later on, you didn't give a Soma drop to Kane, you gave it to Edward.
I did. I gave Edward MP. Gotta do a twist.
My goodness. And, you know, it's interesting because for most of the first half of this race, it really looked like you were playing from behind based on where LUF was and where you were.
I felt like I was.
Yeah. I mean, you were both kind of playing. You're both playing with a chip going into it. And then that Earth Crystal, you know, what prompted you to do that? I mean, was it really just well, I've already faded everything else. I'm going to stick here on Earth, you know, come heck or high water?
Pretty much. It was that, and it was, again, that whole, like, if LUF had... I'm very interested. I'm going to love to watch the VOD as best as I can. Sorry that my side was so choppy. Ugh, OBS. Regardless, largely it was, I mean, I felt bad the moment I bounced off of that evil wall in Ordeals and completely reconfigured my party. And I'm like, okay, all right, let's start catching up. I get the magma. I hope for a Sheila 1 freebie because I know a lot of people like to fade it. And if Sheila 1 has value, then I feel like I'm getting back ahead. No. And every Earth check that just turned into nothing made me go, uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. Until I found the adamant, and it's like, well, maybe. Just, and yeah, as far as going for Earth as opposed to going back down, again, if LUF does D-Machine and starts knocking out the heavies, the Moon and the Feymarch, I'm sunk. So I'm really just having to hope that if Luf takes the time to demachine and also stows for the heavy checks and they all miss. So I felt like I had to go for lighter checks. And that meant I went to Earth Crystal instead of going after that annoying Mamba.
And real quick, Luft just found the Luca key at the Odin spot, and everything you just said is exactly how it happened.
It was my only hope with the position I put myself in. It just worked out.
So let's talk about, where you've set yourself up for this race. I feel a camaraderie because you and I both started at 0-3 in groups, and now you've gone 3-0 in the Swiss stage. Kind of walk me through your mental processing and going through that. How did you prepare for the Swiss rounds in Hook? Did you do anything different than you did for groups, or is it just more practice and cross your fingers?
It was more practice and cross my fingers, basically. Like for the first, I haven't gone into any match without watching my opponent at least once. But I know the type of game I like to play. I will bite hard on a Cecil, as you saw, which drastically affected my party composition in this seed. I will check my Sheila 1 before Dwarf Castle and things of that nature. And it's very much the game I'm comfortable with. So I tend to look at my opponent and go, okay, if they do things differently from me significantly, then I just got to play my game and hope it works out. And so for most of my opponents, once I got out of that murderous Magus Sisters group and into the Swiss rounds, I kept drawing opponents. It's like, I'm going to have to play a good game, but if I stay in my lane and the seed works out for me, then I feel like I have a chance.
Well, you're heading to the upper play-in. You have 6 other opponents for playing for one spot at the table. If you don't claim that spot, then you still have a chance. You got to go through, I believe it's up to 24 people for that last spot. How do you feeling going forward?
Happy that I have an extra chance. I mean, there's been a lot of fun, and it would have been fun even if that 3-0 were flipped and I were done now. But I'm glad I still get chances, and 2 chances is definitely better than 1.
Well, you ran a fantastic race. Since you want to go back and watch the VOD, I don't want to spoil it for you all that much. You guys had very different parties. You had very different routes. But it's like you said, the one check it allowed you to get ahead.
Yeah, I'm literally just chanting at, well, not quite out loud, but under my breath, chanting as I'm warping out of Zot. Come on, Legend. Come on, Legend. Come on, Legend. Yes! And, the fight at the end, we'll say one thing. I am not the strong nerfer that some people are when it comes to big bangs. So I'm looking at this party and I'm thinking, Hallam will not, or Porum will not survive the big bang that comes through unless I nerf it. And even then, counter nuke, where does that go? The nerfed, this could still be a mess. And so I just leaned hard into, let's either not see a big bang or get my top 2 warriors just in enough if I do see it.
Well, it worked out great for you. You punched your ticket into the upper play-in. So, GG's. That's all I have for Commander Invitation. Do you have anything else?
No, just GG's to you, and I look forward to racing you here directly here in the next coming weeks. So, I mean, that's going to be a hype match between the 4 play-in races that are all going to happen at the same time. It's Everyone needs to make sure that they've joined our Discord and are following these channels: RPG Limit Break, Free Enterprise, and of course Randomania, who's also been helping us. These are going to be some hype races.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you both, BadKarma62, for handling comms. Asuka, thanks for restreaming and rolling another seed worthy of your name. Thank you, RPG Limit Break, for hosting with us. Thank you, Pancreas, for making all of the buttons light up. And everyone in chat, thanks for joining us. And Luf, hats off to you. Best of luck to you in the 2-in-1 players.
As Luf is getting ready to start his aromas. Does a quick reset. Went and found, got a sand ruby from one of the other checks and dumped Cecil for Rosa. So now he has a Rosa anchor.
A level 10 Rosa anchor. Of all the places for Rosa to be, behind that sand ruby, after all the grinding is already done. Whew.
And reset out of the first attempt. Must have had something wasn't ready for. Heading right back in.
MC Callis, I'm sure I'm butchering your name, but does ask, are the play-in races 1-on-1 or battle royales? They are battle royales. So let me break this down. The Magma seed is a little bit easier. The first play-in for Magma is a 5-man race, 5-person race. I apologize, and the top 4 move on to tables. Just not be last place in your end. The loser from that race joins everyone else who went 2-1 in the Magma group, and that's what, 12 or 14, and then the top 3 go through there. Then the hook route, which is much more difficult for all the people who went 0-3 or 1-2 in the group stages. Those of us who went 3-0 in that will be in a group race where there's 7 of us all racing together, and only the first place winner moves on from that. Then everyone who lost that race, including everyone else who then went 2-1 in the Swiss rounds, then all race together, and that's 24 people all racing together. In those 24, only one moves on from there. So that one, I think in particular, is going to be a chaotic nightmare mess of fun, personally. 12 runners. Okay. Yeah, 12 runners in the second Magma play-in.
Yeah, I am looking forward to all 4 of those races. I can't wait to see the group stages coming to an end, seeing these big battle royales again. The 1v1s are great, but sometimes you just need a big old group race.
And group races, you have to race a little bit differently from one-on-ones, because in any sort of randomizer, in a one-on-one race, you just have to do something that your opponent isn't going to do. In a group race, you can't rely on that. Someone else in the group is going to do something crazy.
As LUF is working through his M. Bison misfight, looks like as Edge and Yang and Kane all berserked up.
Looks like throwing down a Bacchus wine on his level 10 Rosa for the lulz, who will immediately fall over.
Tella down as well. LUF's Tella is a little low still. I believe only maybe in the upper 20s. But yeah, with these 3 in their 50s, they can survive a Big Bang. And definitely the Meteos.
Yeah, this should be no problem at this point in time for LUF. The only thing that I would be a little bit concerned about is if they don't push through and he gets a black hole, which would negate their berserk status, and then he'd have to kind of reset things up. But I do think he has enough damage to push through at this point.
give our runners a follow tonight. They put on a fantastic race for us. LUF and Commander Leonhart both. Real quick, one last shout out to the Restreamed team. We have Auska424 who did the Restream and rolled this seed. Tracking for X Pancras. Thank you for keeping us honest, keeping us lit up on the buttons. And my co-commentator, Vitasia.
Absolutely. And turn around, I will share the favor to you, Bad Karma as well. Make sure to, it's always been a pleasure working with you and everyone else in this community behind the scenes. It's just always a good time.
Yep, it is one of the most welcoming communities I've ever been a part of. If you feel like that you want to get involved and get in here, as there's the Crack and the Flash, as in Bison and Miss Falls. If you'd like to get involved, please join the Free Enterprise Discord. We will get you all the help you need to get running and get started. We have tons of people who can answer questions for you, and we'll get you going. And maybe we'll see you in one of these future tournaments.
Absolutely. So GG's to both LUF and Commander Leonhart. Both of them continuing. They both will have at least one more race in both of them. In the meantime, it does appear as though LUF has declined an interview, so we're not going to be hearing from him. Everyone stick around, though. It does look like we're going to be raiding another one of our community members, Smaped, who's likely doing some practice of the table flag. I don't know if he's doing table flags or not. I don't quite know what he's up to, but we're raiding him either way.
Come on, people, I want math.
Yep, and we will be hopefully see everybody over there. Give Smapey some love, cheer him on for his practices, and we will see you next time. Keep your eyes out on the channels, RPG Limit Break, Free Enterprise, or Random Mania to see when those group plans are done. And I'm Bad Karma.
And I'm Vitasia. We'll see you guys at the next race. Have a great rest of your night.